Hey guys, welcome back to the Don't Settle Squad podcast, episode 57, training review and 3 life lessons from 2024. This episode covers a review of my 2024 training goals and 3 lessons from ways my life changed in 2024. So, apologies for people listening to this podcast. I left the podcast mic at home, or I should say up in my apartment in Dublin. I'm back home in Roscommon now for the Christmas. So apologies for that, sound quality might not be the best. I guess if you're watching on YouTube, I also forgot my razor. So we're looking a little bit rough, so I guess apologies to both if you're watching or listening to this one. So hope you had a good Christmas. What day are we now? 29th. Sunday 29th. I had a good Christmas with friends and family. A few late nights. Still recovering a little bit. The last one there was Stephen's night. Yeah, it was funny because I think the 23rd was the night that I go out with my home friends from Roscommon, and I did the nightclub in Roscommon that day, and I usually just do it once over the Christmas, and that's more than enough. So for the 26th, when I went out to meet them, I actually wasn't going to go out, only that I have a friend home from South Korea and a friend home from Madrid, and I only see them once a year, so it's like, oh yeah, look, we'll go out to meet them, and long story short, ended up in the nightclub again. But the one little funny story there that kind of sparked all of it, what brought it downhill, was bumping into an old friend from school that I would only see like kind of once a year on those nights out, and we used to play football together, and he's actually now the manager of Roscommon Town Soccer, who I would have played for way back. And we were just chatting about that and reminiscing and everything, and he was like, yeah, look, if you want to come back and look, best centre back ever played with, blah blah blah, come back and all this. And I was like, no, look, that ship has sailed for me. Maybe I'll talk about that one day. I'm sure people kind of know from maybe the documentary that soccer was my life. Thought I was going to be a soccer player, like most young boys, but played up until whatever, 24 or something like that, 23. I'm 32 now, so it's been a long time I haven't played soccer, and I've went into martial arts instead, purple belt jiu-jitsu, even teaching jiu-jitsu now, and that's what I was telling them. But I said, you know what, there's only one game that'll bring me out of retirement, and it's if we do a rematch of the Townies and Culchies match that we did at the end of 6th year, which we organised, and it was unreal. It was such crack. I got the Townies squad and he got the Culchie squad, and we got one of the teachers to ref it, and yeah, the cracking stories and everything, it was unreal. So when I said that to him, and that's when he looked at me, eyes open, he's like, do you know what, I only said that to someone 4 days ago. And I was like, man, I'm not messing either, like, I'll do it. And started into shots of Sambuca, and yeah, as you said, spiraled downhill there into the nightclub, doing all sorts. So yeah, that was the one random story. But man, I'm up for that. I'm going to be getting on to him, because that would be a great thing at home for Christmas. Could even be a yearly thing, and we said we do it for charity. That's what would kind of get people interested too, is if we dedicated the money to some charity and put whatever, 10, 20 euro entrance fee. And be great crack as well for everyone to meet up before you go out for a few pints. So yeah, right, for today's episode then, review of the 2024 training goals and then the 3 lessons. So for the training goals, I'm going to do a post on this as well. Didn't hit the 100 kg bench goal, didn't hit the 1 arm chin up, didn't hit the 40 kg weighted chin up goal, didn't hit a lot of my goals. So if you think things come easy for me or I'm always hitting my goals, no, definitely not the case. So we're going to go through them here. Sorry, on the wrong tab. But even when you see then, I've hit a lot of PBs, even though I didn't hit some of the main ones that I wanted. But when you just aim high, I think that's the kind of point here. When, that quote, we just aim for the stars, even if you don't get them, you land on top of the world. That's kind of what's been happening here. 5 years ago, I set these goals way off in the distance, things that weren't possible. Could probably do 5 chin-ups, and I was like, right, 1 arm chin-up is the goal. And I still haven't got it 5 years later, but I've got PBs through that and just aiming for these high-level goals. So that's what I did. I've put the standards really high years ago, and even though I haven't hit some of these things, maybe some of the PBs I go through now, you'll be like, geez, I wouldn't mind those. So it's all relative at the end of the day. So on the training then, so I suppose first of all, physical freedom. Before we go into the strength goals and then the cardio goals, physical freedom is always there for me. And maybe the last 4 years has been nothing too major, besides, would say, well, knee surgery. And okay, forget that. There's been 3 years ago, broke my leg and tore my ankle ligament, so that was a big one. And then knee surgery this year was a big one. So that's what I down, like getting the knee surgery on my right knee and getting back to martial arts, jiu-jitsu mainly. That was one of the biggest wins for me this year in my training, on the training side, because I couldn't do jiu-jitsu. I wasn't able to do jiu-jitsu properly for about a year and a half before I got this done. I was very frustrated and thought the jiu-jitsu journey was going to be over, to be honest, because I tried to go back so many times and I couldn't. And even the coaches, I'm going to cancel your membership for a while because, yeah, it's just not worth it. So that was great. Got the knee surgery done, did the rehab, back to jiu-jitsu, which was amazing. But then I suppose on the bad side, got a grade 1 sprain in my AC joint here on the left shoulder. So couldn't even do a push-up 2 weeks ago. You know, I think 100 kg bench goal, and then finished the year, can't even do a push-up. And I also have like a nerve issue in my neck that's been coming and going for years, and bad flare up the last kind of few months to the stage, you know, waking up in the middle of the night with a numb left arm and this kind of stuff. So I did have to take a few weeks off. Well, this Christmas break, I've took 2 weeks off jiu-jitsu and off training to rehab the left shoulder anyway. There's, you know, I've tried a lot for the nerve issue, not so much I can do for that, but just managing it. So that's the kind of updates on the physical freedom side. One great one with the knee surgery, but then I suppose just end of the year, look, this is the reality of the journey. I'm a mobility man, done all the work, even up to levels of the front splits. Will say shit still happens, you know. If you're training hard towards strength goals, cardio goals, you're training martial arts and you're training hard, these things are going to happen. So look, that's why I learned all this stuff. I know how to rehab these things, and I'll get back like I do every time. So moving on to the strength goals then, the PBs here. So I got max pull-ups, which is 20, so I hit 20, which I never did before. And then my max chin-ups, I got 17. So they were both PBs. I think my max chin-ups, the last time I tested was 16, so one extra there. And then the max pull-ups, I don't think I ever did max pull-ups actually. I was just curious, and actually got 20. So that was a bit of a weird one. I thought I'd do more chin-ups than pull-ups, but maybe the range of motion wasn't as full, but it was chin over the bar. Anyway, look, there's two PBs on the vertical pull, we'll say 20 pull-ups, 17 chin-ups, and that was mainly from the one-arm chin-up work that I do, and then the weighted chin-ups. It's not like I don't try to ever get max reps. I might just try it once a year to see if that's going up from the work that I'm doing. So on the one-arm chin-up, I actually stopped that back in maybe April this year, because actually same issue, this neck nerve issue, just a pain in the bollocks, but I can manage it and I can still do jiu-jitsu, I can train, but when things get very intense, that's when it can flare up. And it's, if you guys have the nerve issues, you know they're the tricky ones, like muscle, tendon, ligaments, they're easier, more straightforward in stages. A nerve issue, you could be feeling amazing, and you could train hard, you could feel okay even after training, then the next day it could hit you very bad. So it's one of those frustrating things. But that's what happened when I'd go to very intense one-arm chin-up reps. Sometimes my neck would just lock up, and that happened once this year, flare up very bad, to the stage like I'm struggling to move my neck left and right during the day for a week, and then it's coming back to, are these things really worth it? I've nearly got a one-arm chin-up. Does it, am I going to sacrifice not being able to turn my neck just to actually get it, and these type of things? So look, they're all personal decisions that you have to make, and in that moment I was like, no, I'm strong enough to do all the things I want to do. Physical freedom is more important there. I'll switch to weighted chin-ups because I'm using two arms and there's less of a kind of whip which seems to irritate the neck. So I moved on to weighted chin-ups, and then I was like, okay, instead of the one-arm chin-up, the 40 kg weighted chin-up will be the goal, because I got 35 years ago but never prioritized weighted chin-ups because I was doing the one-arm chin-up stuff. So now I was like, okay, drop the one-arm chin-up, put in the weighted chin-ups, and see how we go. And was progressing up, hit PBs at lower weights for volume, we'll say, but didn't actually get a chance to try for a new PB because of the shoulder and the neck again. So look, there you go. But even though I didn't hit a new PB for a 1 rep max, I hit a PB on the 15 kg. So during the training, I did 4 sets of 6 reps with 15 kg, which I'd never done that before. So a volume PB with 15 kg. Then on the bench press, I'd set, this year was actually the first year that I was bench pressing. I think I might have started maybe last October, so you could say 15 months of bench pressing just to try something new. I think that's important too. I've hit things like a handstand push-up, but when I think about it, like, I'm not the kind of guy who just wants to do handstand push-ups forever and go 3, 5, 10 and just stick in something that I'm good at, we'll say. You know, I want to set new goals and be the beginner again and learn, and it's only going to benefit me because I'm a coach, obviously. So even if I have someone who wants to bench press, if I've gone through the journey, hit 1.5 body weight and this kind of stuff, it's only going to help me. So that's what I did. Switched from weighted ring push-ups, which I got up to maybe sets at 35 kg over the 3-4 years, and I started the bench press journey. Started off slow, good form, chasing the small gains, like all the stuff that I'm preaching, and over that kind of 15 months got up to a 90 kg PB. That was my PB. So I hit 90 kg one day when my brother was there and he was testing a max, and I was like, look, no point waiting to the end of the year, so I'll just try it now. And I'm glad I did, because I wouldn't have got to try it and I would have got no PB. So there you go, 90 kg PB, and that's 1.15 by body weight, because I think I was 77 or 78 on the day. So there you go. Look, happy enough with that. Kind of year of benching, 1.15 by body weight. That's not too bad. Nothing amazing. I wanted to get up to the 100 kg and maybe up to 1.5 body weight. That'd be a good standard to get to. And then didn't hit the 100 kg bench because of the shoulder issue. And yeah, that's just to show you the reality. Hit a 90 kg PB, close to getting the 100 kg. Things are going well. Then I hurt my shoulder and couldn't even do a push-up. So it's just the reality, the physical freedom journey. I say it's like snakes and ladders sometimes. You can climb the little ladders over weeks, months, years. Next thing you hit a snake, you go right down to the bottom. It's frustrating. That's why that's the whole don't settle attitude. It's happened to me. I don't know, is it in the hundreds of times? It's definitely the many, many tens. And so many opportunities to settle, but I don't settle. With the right attitude and approach, and I keep going, and they end up surpassing the heights I did before. So that's why it's mostly coming down to your attitude. I'll do it again. I'll hit the 100 kg bench. For you watching this when you see it, couldn't do a push-up 2 weeks ago. I've been rehabbing the last 2 weeks. Couldn't even do a table push-up either. So I had to do a supported table push-up once or twice. Then table push-ups without the leg support. And only there yesterday, I did 3 sets of 5 push-ups on the floor. So look, I'm just as frustrated as anyone else at these things. I want to be benching 100 kg and I'm doing 5 push-ups on the floor. So you just need to follow the process back. And the strength doesn't just disappear. Like, once you're over the injury and manage it, which I won't talk about now, the strength will come back fairly quickly. The strength is there. It doesn't disappear. Your brain is limiting it because it knows you're injured. It's just like you could drive a car really well, but you drove a bit dangerous and the driving instructor pulls up the handbrake. The engine hasn't just been thrown out of the car or anything like that. The power is still there, but you're just not allowed to use it yet. You need to earn the trust of the driving instructor back. And then on the legs, because I had the knee surgery, torn right meniscus, I was just working on like the machines, building up strength after I got the mobility back. And I said, you know what? I never did the machines before. Again, like something new. I got up to 1.5 by body weight squat, nearly a double body weight deadlift and these type of things. I'm like, I'll try just the machines for a while as I'm getting back into jiu-jitsu. So I set the goal of hitting the full leg extension stack for sets, and I did that. So I hit that goal. Did like 3 sets of 6 on the full leg extension in the last session before I came home. So yeah, there were the PBs. So max pull-ups, max chin-ups, a volume PB on the weighted chin-ups, bench press 90 kg, full leg extension for the quads. So look, hit a few things there, but yeah, didn't hit the 40 kg weighted chin, the 1 arm chin-up, or the 100 kg bench. They'll be going into next year. On the conditioning side then, so yeah, actually there's good stuff here. So on max power, so on the assault bike, testing out your max power, I got 1562 watts. So 1562 watts on the assault bike. And if you go on the assault bike, you'll know that's pretty good. Like to get over 1500 watts, that is pretty good. Now I will say, I think the road bike is harder. I have a road bike in the shed. I wasn't actually home and I was in a gym, one of the best gyms in Dublin, Westwood, which they don't have a road bike. I actually emailed them about that one day. It's like, what is going on here? They have an older assault bike, which isn't half as good. And I think it's easier. That's my own perspective. So, like my PB out there was like 1480. And then the PB I got up in Dublin was 1562. So 1562. Anyway, look, that's what it said on the bike. But yeah, I have a feeling that's a little bit easier than the Rogue bike. So yeah, max power PB there. Which I was happy with. And then I also got an explosive endurance PB. So I got 20 sets of 10 seconds hard 60 seconds rest. And I was really happy with that one too. That was actually the cardio goal for the year, because starting off, as you'll know, if you do things like the road bike sprints, you do 5 and you feel like you're going to die. Like, you do 5 and you're nearly getting sick when you start off on this stuff. And so that's why I bought the road bike years ago. I did a jiu-jitsu competition, experienced absolute and utter fatigue for the first time in my life. I didn't even know humans could feel that way, and understood the quote that fatigue makes cowards of all men. Because I even pulled out the last match that I could have got a bronze medal in, because I was just on the verge of getting sick, and complete and utter fatigue, which I'd never experienced playing soccer. So that's why I bought it, to build mental resilience and also to build the cardio. And I've got loads of cardio courses from people who've trained UFC champs and got really into it. So that's where all this come from. That was like 3 years ago, hence why I'm able to hit these PBs now years later. This takes time. But yeah, I did 20 sets of 10 seconds off, 60 seconds off. And pretty good numbers there too. Like, the average watts would have been 1,000 or something like that. So yeah, like, would have been impossible. Would have sounded impossible and been impossible to younger Mark. But there you go, small gains over years, and you hit these things. Felt like a fucking beast that day. I could have done more. Felt like I could have went 23, 25, but I said, look, we'll take that PB, recalibrate and keep going. And then the VO2 max, just as a result of, I do low and slow cardio work as well. I do martial arts for cardio. I do martial arts, but it gives me cardio as well. And then I do things like the road bike. My VO2 max hit 56. Which, again, if you're not aware of this stuff, like, I had to just double check it there, because that was like halfway through last year. That is superior. There's no higher category. And again, like, really happy with that one. So on the VO2 max, I had it up there, actually X'd it off. I think 53 and above or 54 and above is in the superior bracket for my age. So I'm 32, and that age bracket was 30 to 39, I believe. So yeah, like, I'm in the highest bracket there is for cardio. Like, I have superior cardio for my age, which, again, really happy with, but I've put in the work for that. And I remember seeing on the watch, so even though I'm 32, I basically have the heart of a 20-year-old. And I did a post on this recently enough about the why behind all the work I've done on cardio. It wasn't just for performance, we'll say, like for jiu-jitsu. I have a much deeper why now, because if you check the stats, the best thing you can do for health and longevity in your life is strength and conditioning. And for strength, if you reach an elite level of strength, you have a 300% reduction in all-cause mortality in all points in your life. If you reach elite cardio levels, you have a 500% reduction in all-cause mortality at all points in your life, for all diseases as well. So if you are elite in strength and conditioning, that's 800%. So you're roughly 8 times less likely to die from any disease at any point in your life if you're elite in strength and conditioning. That is my why behind it, because I want to live as long as possible, live a healthy life, hopefully have family and kids, give them the best life possible, and be around for as long as possible, over 100. And there's no jokes here. People laugh at this stuff. I'm not messing with this stuff. I'm putting in the work to make that happen. So it's the most important thing you can be doing. You can forget this pill, that pill. Start with the basics, the foundation. As I said, 8 times less likely to die from all diseases at all points in your life if you're elite in strength and conditioning. And I'm up there. I mean, I have the stats. I am elite in conditioning, in strength. Actually, pretty elite in strength. I've nearly done things like a 1-arm chin-up. So there you go. That's the why that would get me out to do these workouts when I'm not caring much about performance, or I don't want to do it. I think of my future family, and that's going into a separate conversation you could have on when you're struggling for motivation and discipline. If you don't want to do it for yourself, do it for someone else. And if that person isn't even alive, which I don't have any kids, that's the power of the human mind. We can imagine things and we can get meaning from it. See, I had to use a bit of a spiel there, but yeah, so they're actually some really good PBs. Max power, explosive endurance PB, and then the VO2 max was 56 at one stage. Like, it's not that now. I think it's 55 or even 54. But again, I'm still just at the bottom of the superior bracket. Obviously, yeah, people who are mad into cardio, doing marathons and all this, theirs should be up a bit higher than that. So on the martial arts, then got back to jiu-jitsu after nearly 18 months, not able to train properly. Was absolutely fucking delighted with that. Yeah, barely hold back the tears in the surgeon's office. I still remember that when he was like, man, the surgery's going to be easy, like I'll be able to do it for you after trying to get it for so long. And yeah, did the rehab, came back and trained jiu-jitsu. So now look, as I'm saying with these other issues, I was able to go hard at certain points and other things flared up. So I'm back at jiu-jitsu training Am I back fully, able to go very hard, kind of competition rounds? No, I'm not. But I'm going to try and get back there. And look, if I can't, I'll be at peace that I did everything I could anyway. But I will get back. And I taught jiu-jitsu for the first time as well. Taught 7 of the fundamental classes, which was, I loved it. I really loved that. And this is how things go. I actually don't think I won't have time now. This went on way longer than I thought. Apologies. I might leave the 3 lessons, put it into next week's episode, and even maybe give you a little plan on how you can sort out your 2025. I think that's probably the best thing. So maybe we'll finish up on this of you won't know the path forward. So I think this is actually one of the points that I had in the life lessons. Yeah, we'll finish on this one. So I suppose one life lesson instead of 3, and I can go through the other ones next week with some other content. But actually, sorry, I'll flick over because I wrote it down. We'll get it properly. Yeah, your past self can't know what your future self wants. Okay, so that was the life lesson there, which leads into teaching jiu-jitsu. Your past self can't know what your future self wants. And it's been a random one where, because I couldn't train jiu-jitsu properly and I had to actually stop, and the coach was like, look, I'm going to stop your membership because you keep getting injured and you need to sort out your knee. But then he said, well, would you be interested in training jiu-jitsu, like coaching jiu-jitsu, since you can't do it yourself? Because I know you're a coach outside of this. And I was like, I had thought of it, but maybe when I was older, more time, was a black belt, etc. But then I was kind of forced into it, like if I want to do jiu-jitsu, I can just coach it for now. So that's how I got into it, and through doing those classes, I actually found out I loved it. And I wasn't sure if I would, but I really loved it. And just, yeah, like all the coaching, like I was pretty good at it too. But again, that's not by chance. I have 5 years of coaching. I study things quite deep as well. To me, jiu-jitsu is all about like the principles behind it rather than just, surface level moves. And I've studied a lot of the history of jiu-jitsu and stuff. So like I know a lot about it. And similar to this, I can talk a lot about it and I can explain things in maybe a different way than some other people are doing it. And the feedback I got from those 7 classes was good. And I knew that actually, because 1 or 2 of them actually told me, they're like, oh, the way you explained that thing, it actually made a click for me or whatever. And obviously that's making me like it too. I'm like, yeah, geez, all this, just the way I think about things and all my effort put into coaching and all this stuff, I can really help people with this. And the black belt coach I was covering for said as well, he asked them like, look, did you like the class or what? It's obviously they need to do. And he's like, no, I got good feedback from the guys. They liked your class. So now I'm his backup. Like he's called me a few more times as well to cover the class. So yeah, it's just something I didn't really know, like what I liked it or not, and I found that I loved it. I feel like I have the same passion at the start, like I did at the start of my mobility journey when I was helping people with the chronic pain and injuries, being like, geez, I can really help people here, change their life. Like I feel that kind of feeling with jiu-jitsu. And the point there was that, just like I said, your past self can't know what your future self wants. And I'll leave you with one analogy that I heard before, but it's coming back into my mind now. If you can see the path forward, it's not your path, it's someone else's. So if you can see the path forward, it's not your path, it's someone else's. And the analogy of walking through a forest will explain this to you. Let's say there's a forest in front of you, you're walking through it, and there's a walkway, there's a path, you can see where people walk, you're like, oh, that's the way, and you just follow that. Is that your path? No, it's obviously not. You're following somebody else's path. That's why the path in front of you is clear. So the analogy here is, if you're following your own true life path, true to yourself and no one else, you won't be able to see the way forward. It's like you're in the forest. There's all trees and everything in front of you. You have to cut down the path because it's your path. No one else has walked it before. So that's what's coming in here. Like I wouldn't have known this would have happened, but what that shows me is that this is my path. Because I suppose before I saw people leaving their 9 to 5 and going to mobility coaching, and I was like, oh yeah, and I had a love for that, and I'm like, that's my path. That's their path that they follow from someone else, that they follow from someone else. You see, so I've took that path by others, and now I'm kind of branching off into different things, which is my own path, which I could be doing different, could be doing the mobility coaching, could be doing jiu-jitsu, could be like, who knows? And that's the literal point. I don't know what's going to happen. And to me, what that shows me is I'm on the right path because it's my own path and no one else's. So think of that as well. When you're stuck or you're like, I can't see the way forward, like I'm not too sure, I'm a bit confused, I don't know what's happening. Good. That's a good thing, because now you know you're on your own path. If you could see the way forward, you're following someone else's path. So leave that there. Hopefully YouTube's still running. And talk to you next week. I'll put into their lessons next week and even maybe give you a little bit of a plan on how to get started in 2025. And last thing as well, the Physical Freedom Program membership, the deal will actually still be on. So when you're listening to this, it'll be on the last day or two. So €22 a month for December. If you sign up, you'll get that €22 deal forever. And that's not going to be staying. It's going to be going up in January up towards €50. So I can see a good few guys in there. Next live call on Tuesday. So if you want to overcome chronic pain injury, get back to things you love, reach your athletic potential, link is in bio. We'll see you in there. Okay, so don't settle, live true to yourself. Talk to you next week.